Recorded in their mother's basement, Super Nerdland brings you Graded Point 5, where in a comic book it would be worth less than the polybag it comes in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Operation Retcon podcast. This is a new venture. We have no idea what we're doing, but we're going to kind of muddle through it as we go along. The basic idea is we take your old storylines that you thought were horrible and counterproductive to what comic books are supposed to be and try to make them better, but it probably will fail miserably. So, let me start with introductions. I'm Wayne. You probably know me if you've listened to the Graded Point 5 podcast. I'm the guy who is always sober. With me are Jason. He's the host of Graded Point 5, and hi, Jason.
No, not tonight.
Okay, you're not Jason tonight? Okay.
No, I'm not high.
Then you're not Jason.
Fair.
Okay. Also with us is Mulatto, Jordan.
Nigga, you can call me whatever the fuck you want.
I know, I understand, but I'm trying to call you by real names.
Oh, okay.
I will call Cab. Cab is over there.
I'm a resident Florida man.
Yeah, he's from Florida. He makes sure things... he's keeping the lower half of the United States down, and we mean physically.
I'm guarding the border, dude. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
exactly. That ocean border.
Keeping
all the Cubans out.
Yeah.
What I do.
Yeah, okay. So, today's first episode of this magnificent podcast will be about the one and the only Spider-Man Clone Saga. I didn't hear the applause. Who didn't cue the applause? God. Unprofessional.
I'm also going to point out
This is the only time anybody's ever going to laugh.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm also going to point out there's two Spider-Man sagas. Clone sagas.
Actually, there were 3.
Oh, damn it. Getting flexed on,
Hold
nigga.
on a minute. Are we including Ultimate in here?
No.
Because we can keep going. There's 15 Clone Sagas total.
This is true, but we're basically going with the start of the from the one from the 70s. Maybe there'll be passing mention of the second one I was talking about, and then the third one where everything just went belly up. So anyway, let's get into that quick overview of the original Clone Saga, or of the Clone Saga in general. Back in the 70s, there was I'm going to say...
What are you doing, radio guy voice?
Yeah. So back in the 70s, there was this guy.
Jesus.
No, but seriously, there was a story in the 70s. It was right after Gwen Stacy bit the bullet that the writers at Marvel decided, hey, we need another thing to do. We don't know what to do. Can guys figure something out? And it's like, okay, let's do this. So essentially, the professor at Empire State, who ended up becoming the Jackal, cloned Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy because apparently he had an infatuation with Gwen Stacy, and in that decided I love this girl, I want her so bad, let me give her a boyfriend too. Wait.
Yeah, the dude has an ultimate cuck fetish. If he clones his wannabe girlfriend's boyfriend too, that's weird.
I was gonna say, I remember reading that part, I'm like, huh? But
this dude, he's a fucking weirdo.
He didn't even make Peter Parker black. This is some bullshit.
Spider Bull.
Pete Charles Parker.
Yeah. So, one thing led to another. Of course, the Spider-Man ran into each other. They fought. Shit happened. Spider-Man died. They thought Jackal died. Apparently, the Gwen clone went off on her own to find her own self or something. I don't know. Spider-Man threw the other Spider-Man, the clone Spider-Man, into was an incinerator.
Yeah,
like a chimney or some shit like that.
Yeah, and thought that was the end of it. But the thing was kind of decent. The writer at the time made it ambiguous to which Spider-Man actually died.
Yeah, that's one thing I thought was kind of dope. Like, you don't know if the Spider-Man from then on is the clone or the real one, because they never clarified.
Yeah, and he never clarified. He said he was kind of, under his assumption as the writer, he said it was always Peter Parker, the original Peter Parker.
Right, but there's nothing to indicate that is either or.
Yeah, because they've had identical suits and, the same everything. So, which, like I said, and that one was about, 10 issues, roughly?
And looking at the thing, it was like, it was between, a little under 10.
Yeah, so a little under 10 issues. Which is a fine, that's a good, if you're going to do a story like that, to, round it out and everything like that. There was a brief retouch on this story where apparently the High Evolutionary thought that this professor in Empire State University was a better geneticist than he was, even though he's called the High fucking Evolutionary.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it can't be that great. I'm the higher evolutionary.
He's a slightly higher evolutionary.
So slightly higher evolutionary. But yeah, so they had this story where he thought he was a better geneticist, so he was trying to find his information and crap like that. And they kind of retconned the whole, they weren't really clones, they were just normies that he imprinted with a virus that made them into clones of those people. So
What they call it, a DNA retrovirus or some shit like that?
Yeah, pretty much. It was a DNA retrovirus where, like, just some normal guy became Peter Parker, some normal girl became Gwen Stacy, et cetera, and apparently the High Evolutionary, who apparently was a better geneticist, was able to, quote, cure them, and, you know, they went on about their normal lives. Until we get to the 90s. Where
Best decade.
Yeah, best decade ever. When Marvel decided, guys, we need money.
My coke habit ruined our company from the 80s. And I need more right now. I owe my dealer a lot of fucking money.
Well, essentially, what I understand is they wanted that event, kind of like the Death of Superman and the Nightfall situation. They wanted that big event.
Yeah. Background on all this is that this is a time when like every fucking thing had to be an event.
Yeah. I mean, that was
The big old cover.
Yeah, that was during the time. Like you said, Kat, we were talking earlier. You said that was about around the same time as Age of Apocalypse and.
There's Age of Apocalypse and super. Yeah, it's all that stuff. And every brand new series number one.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, during this stretch between 94 to 98, you had AOA a couple years later, Clone Saga, then Heroes Reborn, Onslaught.
Heroes Return, all that stuff was hitting around in that block of like 5 to 6 years. All that shit was going on.
None of it good except for AOA.
Yeah, exactly. This was also during the time when Marvel was going through bankruptcy. And
they got bought out by their own toy company.
Yeah, somehow got bought out by their own toy company that they let spin off like years earlier. But
that's like being a dad and then your son's way more successful and he has to like pay your mortgage.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just you're not a man at that point anymore.
God damn.
Not wrong though.
It's always
You might as well let your son cook you too.
What?
All right.
Okay, so we're going back.
Wait a minute! I just realized what I said.
All right, son, you get to fuck your mom. Wait, hold on. What? You heard what I said, boy? God damn it!
So you're a Greek tragedy now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am Florida man, so
Yeah,
Oh God.
you are the American version of a Greek tragedy.
I just imagine just a second ago that Cab, like, he's I'm going to make this joke, not realize he walked himself into a box.
yeah, that happens a lot, but whatever.
Like, you're doing cooking your dad. Wait.
I play too much Crusader Kings 2, and that happens way more often than you think.
Yeah. Good point. Excellent point. So yeah, we got to the 90s, and also Marvel had this brilliant idea. It wasn't brilliant, ladies and gentlemen. It was not brilliant at all. To split some of their bigger titles into their own, quote, divisions inside Marvel. So you had the X-Men imprint, you had the Spider-Man imprint. I want to say there was a normal Marvel imprint. I want to say the fourth one was Avengers.
Yep.
Yeah, so they have 4 different imprints, and for a time, there was actually a mandate that never the twain shall meet.
Yeah, there was never Spider-Man would show up in the X-Men or any of that shit.
Yeah,
it's kind of stupid.
It was kind of a period of time where there, like, maybe a brief guest star or something like that, but nothing, significant. You know what I mean? So they were they thought they were streamlining things, but they actually made it way more complicated.
Yeah, like, this is, like, everyone here is sort of a big comic book person, and I was too 25 years ago as a young nigga. But this is about at the point where I noped out because of all the imprints. They had like 50 different fucking series for each team and version. It had X Factor, X-Men, X-Force, X-Douchebags. It was just ridiculous. I could afford, even though the cover price. This is also they jumped up the price on covers.
Mm-hmm.
Or like 50 cents or something. It used to be like $1.50, and they went up like $2.50.
Yeah, they went up $2, and then the special ones would be like $3, $4.
They were like $4 or $5, sometimes $10 if you wanted to buy them at a comic shop.
Don't forget holographic covers and
lenticular covers.
Yeah, lenticular covers and
foil covers.
What was it during what was it, Fatal Attraction? They had little cards.
I had so many damn cards too, because it was like like baseball cards, but it was all combo characters and shit. But and this is where I noped out because it was just way too expensive, and I just lost interest because none of the stories would fucking wrap up. They would be across 20 different comics, and I was like, I don't have the money for this.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we, like I said, the reason I'm mentioning this is to kind of give an idea of what was going into this Spider-Man Clone Saga, was that they basically said we need something to, like I said, something to compete with Death of Superman and Nightfall on that scale. Not realizing that those stories were, even though they were long, they wrapped up in a year's time ish, And
they didn't have 300 different series going on at the same time with the same story arc.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, but
they had different like Batman, this and that, but it wasn't like 5 different Spider-Mans where you had to get all 5 in the same month to get all the damn
storyline out, and
it's like, come on, man.
So essentially, and which I find interesting, especially I think Jason and Jordan will especially find it interesting. This was the early idea of like getting rid of Peter Parker's marriage.
I only have one thing to say to that.
I'm on the other side. I'm fine with it for reasons we'll get into later.
Yeah, I mean, I could be fine with it. It's just like the problem is the people, and I'm saying that I'm not going to be kind about this. The people who want to write these stories are idiots.
I mean, you're not wrong.
That's the biggest issue that I have with these. It's like, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. We'll get into that in a little bit here. But real quick, so we had 1994. They decided, okay, we're going to do this event. It's going to last a year, right? This is going to be a year-long event, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah. Then the marketing department got involved and said, hey, guys, this is selling really well. You'll need to drag this out.
That's unreasonable.
I mean, yeah. So they took a year thing, and they drug it out till 1997. So,
that's when it finally ended?
Yeah.
Like I said, I noped out around like 94, 95-ish.
Yeah, it was a 3-year arc.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And in that period
wide.
And in that period of time, like I said, with the quickness, Spider-Man, Peter Parker found out that he wasn't really Peter Parker. He was the clone. That Ben Reilly was really Peter Parker. That he has basically, I guess you could say, stolen Peter Parker's life. So Peter and Mary Jane, they screwed off and did their own thing. And somehow Peter lost his powers in the middle of all this.
Of course.
Because, as you were, Aunt May died, and of course she didn't stay dead because Aunt fucking May.
Literally Jesus at this point.
Yeah. And then Ben Reilly became the quote true Spider-Man. And I always found it funny because there was an issue in there where I think Spider-Man, he confronted Venom. Or, Ben Reilly confronted Venom, and Venom straight up said, yeah, you're not really Spider-Man.
Now, side note, Ben Reilly's Spider-Man, not the Scarlet Spider, but the Spider-Man outfit. Kind of dope.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. And like I said, when they did the Spider Carnage, when he got infected by the Carnage.
Spider Carnage looked dope, too.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool. It was like, that blue and that red was really...
Yeah, it looked better than like what Spider-Man, he got it when it was the Venom one. But he was just like Black Spider-Man. I was like, it's kind of lame.
Well, I mean, Black Spider-Man had his, point at the time. That was, 80s, and it's like, hey, everything's like dark,
edgy Batman stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Which once again, Marvel just like kind of aping on DC.
That kills me because Marvel was always the one that I think. I mean, not in the 80s, but before and afterwards, they were always ahead of DC, weren't they?
Yeah, for a time. Yeah, they were.
And then they were just basically stealing all their dumb ideas.
Essentially, yeah. So as we go, as that went on, things happened. There were more clones. There was Kane. Kane was apparently the first clone that failed and quote failed, but he actually got extra powers and he went like crazy and started doing crazy shit. There was Spider-Side, which was basically a clone of Peter Parker who could mimic the powers of Venom. Nobody really knows about that because I think he only lasted a couple issues. Then there was it was kind of ridiculous. Eventually there were like thousands of clones. It was getting real stupid. And like I said,
and not just a Peter.
Right. There was like clones of. I mean, of course, Jackal quote was behind it all, but then you find out he wasn't really. And there was like clones of Jackal, and then there was like more clones of Gwen Stacy, if I remember correctly. It got stupid. It got really dumb. I mean, I remember reading an interview with one of the writers during the time, and he said literally we would go out and like get like drinks. You know, like at the bar across the street.
They would get shit-faced afterwards? And be like,
no, they would get shit-faced afterwards, and they would just, like, write ideas on napkins, because that's literally all they could go on. They said we were running out of ideas, so it's like, okay, maybe we can do this. It's like, that's dumb, but...
They're just sitting there, what am I doing with my life?
No, it was literally like that. It was like, yeah, well, this is dumb, but, you know, whatever, we got to do it.
I want to die, but here's a dumb clone idea.
Yeah.
Let me drink that Mike's Hard real quick. Just a young gun.
But yeah, so get to the end of the story. Ben Reilly's finds out Ben Reilly actually is a clone. He dies. Peter and Mary Jane were supposed to have a baby. The baby dies because, you know, Peter can never be happy. Yeah, apparently Aunt May came back to life because Peter can never be happy.
That bitch.
And then Norman Osborn was found out to be alive the whole time, manipulating things, and like he was like, I'm gonna destroy Peter Parker because he killed me. He was like, if he killed you, why are you here?
Yeah, he just oh, I'm mad he killed me, I'm gonna get revenge. Well, you're dead, you dickhead. What are you you died 25 years ago. What are we doing?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm back, I'm fine. Like, what? Okay, whatever, man. So yeah, that's the basic overview of the Clone Saga. So I guess the first question is, where did it go wrong? What do y'all think?
Okay.
One was introducing a million other clones.
I agree with that.
Like if they had like, I don't know, there was like what, 10 clones at one point?
Probably more than that, honestly.
If they had like 3 or 4, like you had Spider-Man, Peter Parker, you had Riley, you had Kane. And like say 3 or 4 others. Like the spider side was kind of a good idea.
Yeah.
Then that would have been cool. And then they all have like fight each other, and then they all like make teams to fight the other ones. You know, that's because that's what superheroes do.
Yeah.
Always fighting other superheroes for some reason.
So yeah, that was like so you see the point of going wrong is too many clones, which that's a very good one.
It just you introduce way too much. That's the thing about people like this is the problem I have with like Japanese role playing games. Mm-hmm. Is that they make everything fucking convoluted and stupid.
Boy, fuck you, cunt. ARPGs are fucking golden.
I mean, Suikoden 2 is one of the greatest games ever, but the thing about it's not convoluted.
Well, yeah. Honestly, I think the idea of cloning in and of itself is a really fucking bad idea, unless you're going to be doing something exceptionally simple, where it's like one clone, specifically for the purpose of just fucking with Peter Parker. Like, I remember reading up on some stuff about it where they do mention, like, at one point, Peter Parker's psyche starts to fucking slip. And he's, like, slipping into, like, he doesn't know who he is, and even was thinking of the Spider-Man.
He starts going crazy. Having, like,
he's having, like,
I'm Tyler Durden moment.
Yeah, like, he was thinking of Spider-Man as a separate entity, not just a costume that he puts on.
Yeah.
Like... with that element, like, you have one clone, you're like, oh shit, Spider-Man actually is a separate person. Like, because that's supposed to be the general idea, right? Like, Miles Warren wanted to fuck with Peter Parker because it's Peter Parker's fault that fucking Gwen Stacy died, even though he has a clone to replace her, but fuck it, whatever. But when you're incorporating all these extra clones, even the idea of, like, having Ben Reilly and then, like, 3 or 4 others, I think would be too fucking many, because that's too many characters to try to fucking keep track of.
Yeah.
Well, here's like, this goes into the business side. I think the reason they did that is so they could have different books of all the characters.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure from a business element, that's probably why they did it.
That's why they did that shit. It's like, no. It's like, because they want to make toys and all that crap, too. Like, oh, here's Ben Reilly Spider-Man. Oh, it's Peter Parker Spider-Man. Oh, here's Aunt May Spider-Man or something.
Aunt May Spider-Man.
You know, they just want to get dumb kids to buy toys. Or get their parents to buy toys for Christmas. That's what it was.
Oh, they were owned by Toy Biz at the time, so I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that where Marvel makes most of his money? Is off of, like, fucking toys and
merchandise. Yeah, and right now it's more merchandise than it is books and shit like that.
Yeah, because no one's buying Marvel. I mean, yeah. I could probably do a comic book right now of how shitty I draw, and might probably sell more than one of their books.
Yeah, so... In case people don't know, Cab he's an up-and-coming artist, and he likes to draw things. We'll leave it at that. Check his timeline.
Yeah, don't do that.
I've been thinking about this, Wayne. I'm going to take it in the opposite direction.
Okay.
Where they screwed up wasn't the story itself.
All right.
Where they screwed up was not taking the changes to continuity the story brought in and immediately changing them back. Not running with them.
Oh, so it's like leaving the ramifications in place, essentially.
Yeah, that was the thing. It's like the only thing that changed is, Norman Osborn's alive, and then everything was the fucking same as it was 25 years ago.
Yeah, the constant need to protect the status quo. Right. Yeah, it's a bad story, but there were some good ideas coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the one Peter Parker going crazy with like his Fight Club shit.
And killing off Aunt May.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and separating Peter and Mary Jane.
That bitch burned the grilled cheese one too many times.
And bringing back the far superior Spider waifu.
Oh, you talking about
Gwen Stacy?
Well, you know why they killed Gwen Stacy in the first place, right?
She was a thought.
Well, she was boring. That's what.
Yeah, she was a boring character.
Yeah, because they thought Mary Jane was more lively and vibrant, and fucking.
Well, Gwen Stacy has like blonde hair. She's like a normie, right?
Yeah.
Mary Jane spent half her appearances like crying in a corner because she's afraid Peter was never going to come home.
Yeah, but Gwen was a literal wet blanket. She just didn't do anything.
I'd rather have the wet blanket than the bitch cowering in the corner because, oh my god, Spider-Man's being Spider-Man.
Yeah, but at the same time, Mary Jane never told him to stop being Spider-Man.
No, if anything, she kind of passive-aggressively guilt-tripped him about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, when your loved one is, it's kind of like, when a soldier goes off to war, do you really want them to? No. You kind of like, I wish you didn't have to go off and defend the country or anything like that, but understand that you got to do what you got to do, kind of thing. But I don't know.
There's something to be said about being strong for the other person.
I guess, but I've always had a more lenience towards Mary Jane. Just me. It might have been because the way they drew her back in the 90s. She always... Yeah.
Granted, I will say, of all the romantic interests Parker's had, short or long term, I prefer Gwen. Short term, fucking Felicia Hardy, man.
Oh, yeah, Black
Cat. Somebody who was on his level.
Yeah. Yeah, and she kind of understood the life, too, so...
I forget, which one was Black Cat?
Felicia Hardy. Yeah.
No, I know that, but what was she doing? I know she was
she had the Catwoman ripoff.
Yeah, she had like white hair and like a furry suit thing.
Yeah. And her powers was that the luck manipulation thing?
Yeah, but that was a later edition.
Yeah, later edition. But
her powers was she had gigantic titties.
Well, this was the 90s, Jordan.
Yeah, this is the 90s. There was
even for the 90s, she had some really big titties.
Yeah, comparatively, she had even gianter titties.
Well, she kind of showed them off too.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she was like, "Hey guys, you want to see something?" Yeah.
Spider-Man ever motorboat him?
Probably.
Oh yeah, probably.
Nice.
14-year-old me was like, yeah.
Well, Wayne, think about it from a psychological standpoint. What bigger distraction than, holy shit, those are like 34 cute titties. Halfway hanging out of black vinyl.
Yeah, but like if you've got a fighter, you just punch her in one because it's in the way and it's going to hurt like hell.
And then you go visit the X-Men, it's like, never mind. But yeah, no, so essentially we've, and my I guess I could say my pinpoint where it all went wrong was the extension of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying with the whole million characters is because they drew it out with, like, if they would have just stuck to a core like 5.
I don't think that's what Wayne's talking about.
Yeah, I didn't even get to like the other things that they added, like was it the Traveler and all this other bullshit that had nothing. It's like they introduced this character and had no idea what to do with him. They basically introduced this nigh omnipotent character that was supposedly manipulating everything, and then halfway through it's like, oh.
Which one was that one?
It was just some guy. It was just like...
He was Traveler.
Yeah, he was called the Traveler.
Traveler.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I thought that was the One Above All or whatever his name is.
No, that was... One Above All was later.
It's literally God, right?
Yeah.
And wasn't introduced till later.
Right. Okay. Well, he'd been introduced a while back, but he never...
as a concept.
Yeah, he was never introduced to Peter Parker personally until, the late 2000s, so... If I remember correctly. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, it's like, so... This you thought there was this, they made it out like there was this like omnipotent guy like fucking around with Peter Parker, and then they just kind of forgot about it. I guess like a quarter of the way through, or probably like halfway through, it's like, hey guys, Norman Osborn, they're like brilliant. That's the only thing we got now. Let's do it.
Yeah. Now, how do they explain that he was not dead for 25 years?
Goblin serum gave him a healing factor.
Yeah.
You did what now?
The Goblin serum, which gives him his powers.
Right.
Gave him a healing factor. So when he was stabbed through the chest with his own glider, I'm sorry, I like that scene in that movie. It was like, your father was stabbed through the chest with his own glider. I tended to his wounds. It's like, why didn't you save him, you old fucker?
And why did you take it to the ER, you little bitch?
Yeah,
Because fuck him.
instead of dying, Norman's small healing factor saves him, and he goes into hiding for a couple decades.
Yeah, and it's
Like you do.
Yeah.
It starts manipulating shit, which is kind of funny because usually that takes money, and if you're in hiding, how do you have access to your money?
Yeah, he owned a giant corporation, right?
Well, yeah, but
Cayman Islands accounts.
That's true.
He hid all of his bitcoins under his bed. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can just see like Green Goblin after recovering from his near-death experience is like, oh man, better go back to the house and get my bitcoins and fuck off for a little while.
I gotta trade my Ethereum right now. It's anonymous.
That and like, dude, he's a super genius, and this is a world where things like Hydra and AIM exist.
This is true.
Just do a little bit of quiet freelance work, make a couple million, and sit back.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, it's not like it would be impossible for him to make money under like assumed identities and shit like.
Yeah.
I also like that his healing factor is basically incomplete because, like, remember there was a scene in that like last issue where he unveils himself. He opens the shirt and says, "You did this to me," and it's like a Mondo scar. It's like, well, that healing factor wasn't so great, was it?
When it gets cloudy outside, you think he gets the arthritis?
Oh yeah, right in his chest. Like,
Son of a bitch, you can't bend.
This has a mild myocardial infarction every time it rains.
Yeah, it's like,
Mild heart attack, his keel's over for a couple minutes. It's all good.
it's fine. So now we've all kind of hit on like where we think went wrong. What would be? I'll start with Jordan. What would you fix to make it not suck?
How would I make it not suck? Well, like I had mentioned earlier, I think what it should have been is more of a psychological story, focusing on Peter Parker's declining mental state. Introduce Ben Reilly as a character after he's beginning to think that Spider-Man is a separate entity and not just a persona that he puts forward when he fights crime. And also have, Jackal controlling Ben, having him do crimes and shit.
So also, while at the same time he's having this breakdown, Spider-Man is also doing fucked up shit.
Yeah, Spider-Man's doing a whole bunch of fucked up shit, which is going to make him decline even more. Because the entire idea of why Jackal went ahead and cloned them was, one, he wanted to get some coochie from Gwen. But he also wanted to make Spider-Man's life a living hell for what he had done to the original Gwen. So what better way to do that than to destroy a man from the inside out? Granted, it would make it a lot different of a story than what we saw. Like, this is less fixing it and more of a just fucking throw out all that clone shit, have one fucking clone, and make it a more intimate story talking about the interactions between these specific people. And go ahead.
I would say that's an interesting concept because, like I said, when I say throw out what you want, that means the entire story. Fine, would you just retell it essentially?
Yeah,
that's fine. I think that's an actually good idea. Like, I like the idea of Peter's just like, oh, I'm just, I can't handle this. Spider-Man, is like ruining my life. It's like, people who are close to him and know it's like, no, Peter, you are Spider-Man. No, I'm not Spider-Man. I'm not Spider. He's actually losing his mind. And then when he actually confronts Spider-Man, air quotes, he's like, oh shit, I was right.
I was right the whole goddamn time.
Yeah.
And then just because you can, just throw in an arbitrary, evil Spider-Man kidnaps Aunt May, because fuck it, why not? But they do it in every other goddamn storyline.
And what would be really cool, if it was me, just to fuck with, if the whole point is like to fuck with Peter, like have it where he drops her off the fucking Brooklyn Bridge and Peter tries to save her and kills her the same way Gwen died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, now you're thinking some dark shit. Like.
Well, yeah.
Can you fly?
You can see like Peter trying to like fucking like convince Ben not to kill her. It's like she's your aunt and blah blah blah. And Ben's like, I have no aunt, and throws her off the fucking bridge.
Realize the point that makes that like unlikely happen though. Aunt May is so old, all those fucking wrinkles would just catch air and give her drift. And she just
one of
float
those,
down
those
like a
sugar
piece of
baby
paper.
squirrel things, whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah, the sugar glider.
You just
Sugar glider, yeah.
you just hear
You turn into a granny glider.
yeah. Oh, old lady glider. That's great. Just the folds just like.
I like it.
She just hang glides back to Manhattan.
Beat you back at home, Peter.
I guess Spider-Man does that sideways dog look like.
This could be a great thing, then, because then they can make a new comic series of just Aunt May, fucking old lady glider, baby skin.
Spectacular.
I'm late to my knitting club. Glides across Manhattan.
Goddamn.
That would be hilarious for like just a joke series. Just make it about Aunt May, about her doing normie shit, like cleaning her house and then crocheting and going to the grocery store.
Just like mundane.
Yeah, but like in the background on the TV, it's like, oh, the X-Men blew up half of Manhattan because of Magneto was being a dickhead or something.
So you're just saying the mundane life of Aunt May Parker?
Yeah. Like that episode. You ever watch Babylon 5?
Yeah.
There was an episode that was just devoted to like the crewmen. It was like these two dudes. All they did was they're like maintenance dudes. They just made sure shit worked on the station.
While other shit was going on around them, right?
Yeah, well, there's like a fucking war going on outside of it. And then like when the actual war's happening, they're just sitting there like looking at the dudes like through like a window, just eating their sandwiches, fighting off these bad guys and stuff. That was the story. It was like just normie. Oh, where's my screwdriver kind of shit.
That's nice. That's good. Oh shit.
Typing
going along.
I'm just thinking about like Aunt May, like fucking Rocky the Flying Squirrel across.
That shit to fucking who runs Marvel right now?
Well, CB Cebulski. Yeah.
Hit him up on Twitter and say, look, I got an idea. It's about Aunt May.
I'll give you the title: The Mundane Life of Aunt May.
Yeah. Good.
So Jordan's going with the whole psychological aspect. There's only one clone, that's Ben, and Ben is through the Jackal is fucking with Peter.
Yeah.
And
no Norman Osborn or any of that horse shit, right?
No, none of that fucking horse shit. No, because like the entire point was supposed to be the Jackal wants revenge on Spider-Man for killing Gwen. Like we're not even gonna have a clone of Gwen because basically he tried to make a clone of Gwen and you had some fucking Full Metal Alchemist shit where he like because Jason's seen Full Metal Alchemist where like when they try to bring back Ed and Al's mother and she like parts of her on the outside and shit. Yeah, so you have that where he tries to bring Gwen back but can't. But for some reason he can bring Peter Parker back.
Probably because of the spider DNA.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. Because of the spider DNA, his body is more hardy to withstand the cloning process. So that drives Jackal even more crazy and makes him want to get revenge on Peter even more than that, because it's like, you killed this woman that I love, I tried to undo your fuckery, and I got fucked out of getting that coochie again. Mm-hmm. Now I'm gonna ruin your life.
Yep. With a clone of you.
Yeah.
Alright, I got a better way to improve that story.
Alright.
The Jackal is Aunt May. Boom! Pay me, Marvel.
This Aunt May just like, I'm tired of you shit. I've known for years you've been Spider-Man. You telling me
you got Uncle Ben killed. I was married to him for 60 years. You son of a bitch.
I'm just like, imagine just like at the end, just like Aunt May just flying out and drop kicking Peter.
Yeah, he's in the Jackal outfit, but her like helmet comes off.
Yeah, and
it was like her old lady white hair flown. Oh, she's like dropping an elbow on someone.
And she just sugar gliders her way across the area and lays down the elbow drop. Yeah.
I like it.
Beat the shit out of him. I'm just having this image in my mind of Aunt May beating the shit out of Peter Parker.
What if Aunt May had the powers of Reed Richards?
just stretching, but it's not like normal stretch. It's like old lady skin.
Like skin from Generation X.
Yeah, just like.
This is horrible.
And it makes that sound too. It's like.
Wayne, you're canceled, dude. No. We should never have done this.
I'm gonna hit up CB Cebulski here a little bit. I was like, look, dude.
We got a fantastic story for you.
Your sales are slumping, and I got a way to fix it.
Here, all I got to say is Aunt May, villain.
I'll even give him some sketches too.
I'll write and draw. I can do it.
Yeah. I got everything. I just need the colors and good to go.
Yeah. Okay, so Jason, what would you? I mean, you kind of give an idea what you do, but as far as
right.
Jordan, what would you do?
Keep it mostly intact, shorten it down to a year and a half at most.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out Peter is the clone, gets Hand of Cain.
Oh, so he gets the mark. Okay.
No, I mean he gets full out like neck snap and mark.
Oh, okay. So he gets killed.
Yep.
Killed or paralyzed?
Dead.
Okay.
Oh, straight up
Fucking
in
dead.
the ground. Okay.
Aunt May, fucking dead.
And then the new Spider-Man is Ben Riley.
Has to take over Peter's life, but has no idea how to deal with it.
So it's essentially given that kind of what they wanted, like a Spider-Man who is still a loser, without Peter Parker being the loser.
But here's the kicker: instead of him getting back somehow with Mary Jane, he gets a Gwen clone.
Oh, so he ends up with a Gwen clone. Okay.
And then the Gwen clone turns around and says, you know what? Spider-Man's a shitty fucking hero. And leaves for the Jackal of her own free will.
Ooh. Damn.
Here's how I improve that. You know how the virus wasn't, or the clones really weren't clones, they were just viruses of normies?
If we get that thread, yeah.
Yeah. The Gwen clone, Aunt May.
This whole time. I was in love with my aunt.
God damn it, Cap.
Then Peter has the realization, I've been sleeping with her.
I plowed Man A. Aunt May, what did I do?
Man A.
Man A.
I plowed Man A.
Hey, you're plowing Aunt May. That you're gonna say it wrong
Cap
sometimes.
just came up with another character. It's a gender swap of Aunt May. It's another clone.
Yeah. Yeah, put that in the notes. That's good. Yeah, I plowed Man A.
I don't know why I'm not picked up by Marvel. I'm better than that fucking Gabby Rivera. I know that much.
To be fair, your 3 stories already have been like infinitely more entertaining than anything Marvel's put out in the past year. So
Yeah, I mean that's not a high bar, but I'll take it.
Yeah, and then like just a lot of the running with the consequences as they intended.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the biggest thing that'll kill any story for me. Is not adhering to the ramifications of.
No Norman Osborn in yours either.
No, don't need him.
So he did. It's still Jackal doing his thing.
Yeah.
But I would keep in the storyline from later. I think Wayne's going to cringe when I say this. Where it turns out Norman Osborn fucked Gwen Stacy and had kids.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep that all in there with the this Gwen Stacy clone running around.
Mm-hmm. So not only did Peter get...
I mean, everybody's fucked Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, exactly. Not only did Peter not ever get up with Gwen Stacy, not only did Ben Reilly never get up with his Gwen Stacy, now they find out she got up with both their worst enemies.
Yeah, and it was all Aunt May the entire time.
It was all Aunt May the entire time.
That bitch. Can't believe it.
Well, no, the thing is, she once married Dr. Octopus. She got a taste for supervillain.
She did marry Doc Ock, didn't she?
And there was a storyline later during Superior Spider-Man where Ock accesses Peter's memories of that shit, or one of them accesses the other's memory. Might have been Peter accessing Ock. Either way. Turns out Aunt May had tried to con Otto into some premaritals.
Oh.
But Peter wound up seeing his aunt bone one of his worst enemies.
God, Aunt May she needs to be killed. Fuck. She's...
Aunt May is the worst Spider-Man villain of all time.
Right?
It's just like roundabout turning into how Karate Kid's actually the dipshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the whole time he was the bully. Yeah.
I like this one.
He's just some fucker from New Jersey. He just shows up and like fucking around with these like Valley kids. Like, you know, I'm the big dog. You know, he's like, oh,
yeah, I'm the autist that's gonna fuck with you because I don't know any better.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you know, you're just chilling. You know, you're having a beach party and everything. All of a sudden, Roman Reigns shows up and fucks your shit up. Like, what the hell? Come on, dude.
And when to top it all off, just to add one final piece to it, fucking High Evolutionary comes back.
So you bring back the High Evolutionary.
It turns out, in the meantime, between the DNA retrovirus story and this one, he has perfected cloning.
Okay. Now, is he kind of like there to fuck with Jackal at that point? Because okay. Because I remember his whole thing was like, I don't want anybody doing my work but me.
Yeah.
And he will literally fuck anybody up who's like trying to mess with his work. And his work, he thinks he controls all the DNA, so fuck anybody else.
Wasn't that guy like also the like a student of the original Clone Man, the Warren?
No, High Evolutionary's older.
Yeah, Evolutionary is like
chronologically, age-wise, is older.
Yeah.
I thought he was like a student.
No, like High Evolutionary was like he was all chilling like in some Wundagore. He was all chilling in Wundagore, like making like cowmen and shit like that.
Who's the student?
I know he's got student, but I don't think it really came up in the story.
It was early on, but I don't know if it like mattered because they fucked up the continuity.
Yeah, it's like because that was probably when they tried to like retcon it to being a retrovirus.
Yeah, it had something to do with that.
Because that's what it was. Because High Evolutionary was looking for Warren.
Oh,
yeah.
I remember what it was. Warren used the DNA retrovirus on one of his
students. Yeah.
Yeah, that one became one of the clones. But no, like that would be the kicker. At the end of this, fucking Spider-Man doesn't beat Miles Warren. High Evolutionary does.
Yeah. It's like kind of come in and clean the shit up kind of thing.
And so you got this like fucking brain-addled clone of Peter Parker just going, fuck, I'm Spider-Man now.
Yeah. And
then there you go, your whole new continuity rewrite.
Yep, and you got then he has to deal with great power, great responsibility, yada yada yada. My Aunt May is an evil genius.
Kind of. I got this rad shirt that I ripped off and put on my.
I got a hoodie without arms.
Yeah, I'm fucking 90s hardcore
shit. Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to my Two Life Crew right now.
So, Cab, you said you had a trump card. Yeah,
this will beat all you motherfuckers. So just make sure you're sitting down.
All right.
Time travel.
Oh, God damn it.
Well, only way to beat one cliche is a bigger one.
Yeah, if you're gonna fuck everything up, just make time travel.
I thought for sure you were gonna say that fucking Jackal just turns Aunt May into Ben Reilly. I thought for fucking sure that is what you were gonna say.
Oh, Aunt May turned Jackal into Ben Reilly.
God.
Because she has time travel powers.
Yeah, she's actually the one above all.
This is how Cab's rewrite's gonna end. Everybody is Aunt May, and the whole thing took place in an autistic kid's snow globe.
That's not a bad idea. And the autistic kid's snow globe is at his bedside while he's insane elsewhere, and Mark Harmon is his doctor.
What the fuck?
And he has an Aunt May.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the lady next to him is Aunt May.
and he doesn't really like her. Like,
no, and then here's how it ends. The Jackal time travels. No, not Jackal. Norman Osborn time travels. That's how he's not dead.
Oh, so when did he time travel from? Is he from the past?
Yeah, he's a 25-year-older one.
Okay, so he never. Wait. Okay, so how do you explain him? Who got hit by the glider then? Who almost ate shit?
No, he got hit. He's like, but his whole healing thing.
So you're saying like he got hit, so I'm going to go to the future and fuck with Peter Parker now.
Yeah, like the comic book, even though it's supposed to be like modern time, he actually went from 1978 or whatever to 1995. He's not older or anything like that. That's why you can keep him the same age, and he's just a time traveling Goblin Man.
I'm just writing this down, and like this is like
Oh, it's retarded.
So, it literally says time travel. Norman Osborn goes to the future.
Yeah. All right, that was my joke answer. A semi-serious one would probably be to like focus on a couple of these clones instead of just having like one-offs of like 50 of them.
Yeah.
And then have like the interaction between them, like, you know, not necessarily make a team of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Sort of like you know how kind of like Spider-Man and Venom have sort of a relationship where they fight each other sometimes. But half the time they're also teaming up because even though Venom's an asshole, he's not like a complete dickhead.
Yeah.
He still knows right from wrong. Sort of do that with Spider-Man, and then, I don't know, you could introduce maybe a big villain or make him a new guy, who the hell knows, that they actually have to like turn around and fight. Sort of like one of those Civil War things where the X-Men are fighting each other, but then they realize, oh, we can't do that. We have to fight Magneto because he's a bigger threat, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But make sure the bad guy is like a seriously like, oh my god, Age of Apocalypse, bigger threat kind of thing.
Oh, I was going to say to dovetail off that, if you're going to do that, which would be a cool idea, is to have basically you would have Peter, Ben, and Kane, right?
Yeah, they would be like the core of them.
Yeah, they'll be the core. They'll be like your good guys. You're right.
And those are the three like homies. Even though like they'll fight each other because they're all trying to like be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But they'll hang out.
I can see it starting like Spider-Man and Ben fight, and then Kane comes on. He's like stronger than them, so they fight him. And
then they realize, wait a minute, we're fighting for the same thing.
Yeah, and then when they go to confront Jackal, then see that's what I would introduce Spider Side. And Spider Side would be the fucking.
It'd be the bad guy Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, like and he'd be like a because he's the way they evolve, way Jackal evolved him and shit. He would be kind of a bad, super badass. It'd be hard to like take him down.
Well, yeah, because he's got like the symbiote carnage powers.
Yeah. So
that's another thing I would do with each of the clones. Is each of the Spider-Man would have slightly different. Like Peter Parker would just be the baseline.
Yeah,
he has all of his, his web thing because that's his. That's not a power. That's a science thing, right?
Yeah.
Tech.
But he can still do all. But the other ones would have like I don't know what other things. Like one have really really good eyesight because how spiders have like 5 million eyes.
Yeah,
and then.
Well, see, Kane had like the mark of Cain where he could like he could burn people. But
yeah, he had other like power. Yeah. So he would be cool. Then I don't know what you do with Ben Reilly.
Well,
though.
Ben, because they kind of did it with Kane, but what you could do is like borrow from Kane because I think they gave him too many powers. So you could borrow from Kane, like give him like spider stingers and shit like that, which is like kind of like how spiders can like sting you, kind of thing. And Kane had those kind of. So you could have,
dude, better idea. Give fucking Ben Reilly 6 arms.
Oh God.
yeah, that would be actually a good idea. Have like I think one of the Spider clones did have more arms, didn't he?
Well, see, because at one point Spider-Man had 6 arms and became a living man spider. So that kind of like dovetailed that. It's essentially what kind of happened with the clones is they, anytime like Peter had like a weird thing happen in his life, they basically made a clone of it.
Yeah. It would be sort of like that. My idea was be kind of like when Superman died, then you had like 3 or 4 different Superman, but each had like they all were strong and shit, but they all had like a specific specialty they did.
Yeah.
That's sort of like the Spider-Man team, I guess you would call it. That's what I was sort of thinking of. I don't know the specifics.
Yeah, Team Arachnid. Let's go.
Spider-Man.
And they can call like their apartment that they hang out in, like fucking Peter's like shitty studio apartment. They call it the lair.
The lair. No, only Kane would call it. I can see.
Yeah, Kane when he was the edgy motherfucker. Like
yeah. He was the one wearing the little cape.
He had the flowing long, luscious brown hair.
Yeah.
Out of his costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely listened to fucking Metallica too much.
Yeah, he had like the Farrah Fawcett hair, man.
Yeah, man, it was flowing.
Yeah, well, this is early '90s, man. You had big hair.
Yeah, everybody had big hair,
even the dudes,
except for me because I was going bald.
You were. You look like the Gerber baby.
You laugh. I could show you baby pictures where I actually did look like the Gerber baby.
See, I went the opposite direction. When I was a baby, I had like spider monkey hair.
Oh damn!
It was just all over the fucking place. Yeah.
But no, I had a full head of hair and a beard.
Damn.
Nice.
Came out full grown.
I had a job in a 401k.
Yeah, but then he sold it off for coke.
No, I lost it when the Cold War ended because it was defense industry stuff, and we got fired. And they made that movie based on my life called was it Falling Down?
Oh God!
Yeah.
Why?
People don't realize that. I actually went on a Grand Theft Auto style rampage in LA one year. And,
What was that? Did you stop at a Trader Joe?
yeah.
God damn it.
I got mad because this Korean guy was giving me shit. I was like, you gook.
Oh, God.
I don't understand your moon runes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't apologize for any of this because if you're listening to this, you kind of knew what you're getting into.
Yeah, I was gonna say they know what the fuck we're about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're down with the cause.
Yeah.
And you're also a low-key racist.
Oh, God.
I mean, the first episode of the regular podcast I came back on, Jason said it's literally gorillas in the mist.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
I love
Wait,
racism.
we were supposed to keep it low key?
Oh, I didn't think it was going to be low key at all. This is us, for fuck's sake.
No, he meant Loki as in like the comic book guy.
Oh, yeah,
as in God of Mischief and so basically wild out all the time.
And like play little tricks on people.
Yeah, exactly. But no.
My patron.
So let me give you my thoughts.
All right.
What I would change. Like, kind of similar to yours, Cap, is like, I would keep it like, it would have never been more than Peter, Ben, and Kane. That would have been it for the clones. Reading about Spider-Side, I was like, that's a good idea, but I'd rather not. You know what I mean? I was like, I just keep him out of it. Make it like, for the whole time, like for this 1 year, because I'm taking it from Jason. It's going to be a 1 year thing. It's not going to be.
Yeah. My story would definitely be cut down by like half.
Yeah. So basically, they think Jackal the whole time. And the big thing is like trying to catch up with Jackal. They think they finish him, and then he hops back up. The king they finish him. Well, what you're going to find out is like the clones. Everything the Clone Saga involves more. It's more about Jackal. Jackal's the one cloning himself. Right? Every time they think they've got rid of him, like, let's say the lab blows up or some shit.
Oh, they're fighting a new Jackal, like Wesker and Resident Evil? Okay.
Yeah. So eventually when they finally get to the end, they think they're confronting Jackal, but under the mask is actually Norman.
So he was behind the thing the whole time making Jackal clones?
Yeah. It's like, basically he got a hold of, after, he kind of recovered from his, because I like the idea of Norman still being around because Norman's a good villain, right? And I could see Norman, like, just for years, like, being a douche and, like, manipulating shit, to, get revenge and whatnot.
Yeah, because the Jackal thing, look, it was sort of like the Goblin and Hobgoblin. They kind of had a theme going on.
Yeah, exactly. So essentially, he's like, the whole time, he's sending out these clones. The whole time they think it's Miles Warren, right? And then,
right.
And because they kept saying, I thought we killed him last time. Well, apparently not. They think he just keeps living, but then you find out, no, they've been like fucking killing clones for like 12 months. Right, and then when they get to the end, and they tell Miles Warren, stir yourself, and it turns out it's like fucking Norman Osborn, and they're like, oh, Here
what would be dope about that, like when they're fighting and they win the battle at the end of the comic book, that when they kill the clone, that it's obviously killed, like a building fell on his head or something like that, or he got impaled by a telephone pole or something.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously the dude's fucking down.
Yeah.
But then, like, the next couple issues, Noah pops up, bombing shit or whatever he does.
And like I said, you could have, like, fill in, not really fill in, but, like, you'd have stories of them, like, interacting, sometimes fighting because they have different views on how to handle things. Like, especially Kane. Kane's like, just murder him, like. Yeah,
he was the edgelord, so he wants to kill everyone.
Like, he's basically like, why do you keep, he tells Peter, like, why do you keep messing around with Doc Ock? Just kill him, like. He's a guy.
You could have him be the one, like, getting the Spider-Man team, like, in trouble with the cops all the time because he's, like, going way overboard when he's taking out people.
Even, like, Spider-Man saying, like, dude, I had to deal with this shit already, and you just made it worse, kind of thing, Like,
yeah, like how Spider-Man he'll pin criminals up against the wall with a spider web so the cops can take them in.
Yeah.
Peter Parker does that, and then Kane just comes by and just fucking, like, puts his fist to their face.
Yeah, murders them.
And kills them, and then Peter's like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah, like, dude. And then it's like he's always trying to take him down, and then all of a sudden Jackal shows up again. It's like, oh, fuck, kind of thing.
Yeah, like, they'll be fighting about, like, Kane about to execute some criminals because he thinks they're, the evildoers or some shit. Like, And then, the Jackal comes around in the middle of a fight, and they have to, like, switch.
I kind of like it, all of our ideas, like, except for maybe... yeah, except for Jason's and Jordan's, like, we kind of made Ben like a secondary character.
Well, no, he would, like, show up though.
Oh no, I'm saying, I was trying, because that was my thing. It's like my thing with Ben would be like his whole thing is like trying to find his place, right? Like, Yeah,
he's got to get a job in an apartment.
Yeah, because like all of his skills are Peter Parker skills, and he's like, well, I can't be a photographer in the Daily Bugle. Like
he has to like work at a fucking be a waiter somewhere.
Jason, didn't Ben also like dye his hair blonde and shit and cut it short?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he tried to change it. Yeah, it went back to like the normal Peter Parker looking, but he tried to like change his looks to be different from Peter.
Yeah, so I could see him trying like moving to a different part of the city and trying to like be different and like maybe
live in the hood.
Well, I mean, whatever you could afford. So it probably would be
with the homies.
Yeah, kind of thing.
That's where he gets his new uniform. He looks like some Fila shit on him.
Yeah.
He's listening
Starts hanging out with Luke Cage.
Yeah, and he's like banging a Tribe Called Quest when he come rolling in his car.
That would actually be pretty good. I would
make him a wigger.
No. I was going to say put him in like Hell's Kitchen or something like that where
put him in a shitty part where he's got to like fight a lot.
Yeah, and so he'd be more he would be more street level. I mean, Spider-Man is kind of street level already, but he would be even more street level because he would.
Yeah, like he's got to like a dude's like jacking a bodega. He'll have to go and like throw him across the street or something.
Yeah, and you could have him like him running into Daredevil every once in a while. And Daredevil's like, "Yeah, you need to quit to cut this shit out. This is my territory." And like like they fight sometime,
Call him you blind ass.
Blind ass.
Would you see this bitch and then punch her in the face?
Blind ass, trick ass.
You bark ass, blind ass, mother.
Like an ultimately crazy idea about this.
Okay.
You got a guy that's clone happy and wants to fuck up Peter Parker and knows he's Spider-Man. Why not just clone a bunch of fucking suicide bomber Spider-Man?
That's a good idea too.
Isn't that what one of them was?
I mean, this like 50 fucking Spider-Man running across the nation blowing shit up.
Like Spider-Man showed up in like New Jersey and blew up like this and that, and Spider-Man was found in the lobby of the Sears Tower and blew himself up.
I mean, like have a whole bunch of Spider-Man just committing like terrorist acts around the country.
Yeah.
Again, Peter's name really, or not Peter Parker, because no one knows he's Spider-Man, but it's Spider-Man's like everyone thinks he's a dickhead.
Yeah. Or
have him show up in Florida, do a bunch of bath salts, and blow up some of the fucking.
Have a crossover. Spider-Man goes to one of the clones. Spider-Man goes to Florida and helps Tony Montana run his organization,
and then blows it up.
And then it eventually blows up the mansion. That's how Tony Montana really dies. This is a good idea.
See?
Who owns the Tony Montana IP? I've got to contact him.
Hey, CB, I got a great idea.
Got to cross over the century.
Spider-Man and Scarface.
We'll call it Spider-Face.
That's
and have the worst thing in the clone Spider-Man. He'll be powered by cocaine, like Snowflame.
I was wondering when you bring up Snowflake.
I was wondering who's gonna bring up cocaine.
Florida man, come on.
That's true. I mean, kinda
breathe that shit,
right? Like,
yeah,
you go drink from the tap, and you're high as fuck.
I wish.
That's how my life works.
I'd get more shit done. I was sipping on cocaine all day.
Cocaine.
I'd be like 30-year-old boomer times 10 at that point.
You're constantly scratching your teeth for some reason.
Yeah, my face itches. I can't feel it though.
Longer line up.
It's got scars all over your face where you're scratching your face all the time.
Great.
Oh god. How do we get here?
Because you invited fucking Florida man. That's how we fucking got here.
That's true.
This is why you invited me, I think.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what happened. I mean, it all went south at some point.
Well, that's how you get to Florida.
True. Yeah.
True. Very true. Yeah. But no, so that was pretty much I think we had some good ideas. I really like Jordan's idea. That was the whole.
Yeah, that one's sort of like, because you said the whole thing was like they're trying to ape on DC with the big story arcs.
Yeah.
And that one that's almost a Batman story.
Yeah.
About the psychological aspects. So that's what I mean. Batman, like, what was it? Like in the 60s and 70s, was like a goofy motherfucker. They didn't take him seriously until the 80s with Frank Miller and all that. Then they kind of went back to the 30 Batman, where he was like a edgy crime fighter guy. Mm-hmm. It was more psychological than, I'll wear a fucking cape and beat up dudes with my Batarang.
Yeah.
And then Joker comes out and laughs at me.
Yeah, like I said, that's a good, like him, Spider-Man literally seeing or Peter seeing Spider-Man as a separate entity unto itself, and then he's confronted with Spider-Man, and he goes even further crazy, not realizing that he's being manipulated the whole time.
At the end of that story, he kills Aunt May.
Of course. That would be a good, because he's, you know what? You could have
that actually wouldn't. That's actually a good idea, where he freaks out and actually kills May for some reason.
Yeah, because he's like he's literally at that point he's actually seeing like crazy shit. Yeah. And so he actually kills Aunt May because he thinks she's somebody else.
Yep.
And then he has to live with that for the rest of his life.
I thought she was the Rhino. So I kicked her across Manhattan.
I get like the end of Hotline Miami 2. And you guys play that one?
No.
Well, the end of it is that you're here it goes back to Florida Man. You're a coked up Russian gangster going through a building, fighting all kinds of weird demons and shit. But the thing is that he's high as hell on drugs, so he doesn't know who he's killing. He's killing his own people, plus the other characters that you played as earlier. Mm-hmm. And they were so like at the very end of the game, he's fighting like this fucking swan demon. Because two of the characters are like they have like duck face on with their masks. But he doesn't know. He thinks they're demons and stuff. And then at the end, he goes on a rainbow bridge that's off the top of the building, but in reality, he fucking nosedives like 30 floors to the ground. That's why Peter Parker, like, he completely loses like his shit, mm-hmm. and doesn't know what's real and what's not, and that's how Aunt May, yeah. Or you can have him kill Mary Jane.
Yeah, kill Mary, or kill them both.
Kill Aunt May with Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Kill another motherfucker. Let's
go. Yeah, exactly.
And I like Jason's idea too of the keeping it mostly the same, but Peter gets killed. Or would you say early on he got killed?
About halfway point.
By halfway point, just like fucking Peter Parker's like ixnayed at that point.
You could do that too, but if you wanted to keep the original Peter Parker, you make the guy that was Ben Reilly actually Peter Parker. So the Peter Parker that you think you've had for the last like 20 years was Ben Reilly the entire time.
See, that would be an interesting idea.
And then the real Peter Parker comes back and kills Ben Reilly, or he died, whatever, and assumes Spider-Man role again.
Yeah. Then he's got to figure out, like Jason said, he's got to figure out how to live as Peter Parker after that.
Yeah, like he hasn't been the same he just was fucking off, doing whatever.
Hear me out on this one. This is a long fucking stretch.
Okay.
Kill off both Peter and the clone, and Aunt May becomes Spider-Man.
I mean, that's
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
If I was better at drawing, I would if I was better at drawing and could do comic book style better, I would make a front cover of Spider-Man #1.
Just
right now.
Old wrinkly woman in a skin tight suit.
Yeah, it was just like saggy titties or nipples like pointing straight down.
There we go.
Right.
It'll be like the Spider-Gwen suit, but like way nastier.
Keeping the dream alive for you.
And it'll have her like white hair at the top, kind of like Kane's was in his suit.
There was a Deadpool issue 0 years ago where Deadpool was kind of like going through like he's basically running into his old villains and shit, people he'd already killed and whatnot. And all this shit's going down, and he actually runs into like Aunt May and Uncle Ben. They were like clones and shit, and they were like doing it. They were like banging and shit like that, and because they called him Peter because he looks like Spider-Man. That was the whole joke. Is like he kind of looks like Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's got the outfit.
So they were like banging, and he like pops in on him, and he just like, and he just starts like blowing them away. He's like, liver spots from hell, die.
Does a grenade at him.
No, he just fucking oozed.
Oh, he just shot him.
Yeah.
Okay, that's even better.
Dear Lord.
All right, so you were going through everyone's ideas, saying,
yeah.
So you went to Jason's idea.
I think, like I said, I like Jason's idea, doing that. And yours was kind of similar to mine, keeping it small.
Yeah, like you got to condense that shit, keep it more focused.
But your idea, you said you would have just had Jackal as the bad guy and Spider-Side as the big bad that he created to...
Yeah, like I don't think I would have had Norman Osborn show up in there because I don't know, it just seemed unnecessary.
Right.
I mean, for sales and toys and all that shit like they're doing, okay, I get it. But like, if you're trying to just write a story,
yeah,
Osborn out.
Just keep Osborn out, make Jackal kind of a mastermind, creates a super clone that can like fuck everybody up, and
he creates like a clone between Peter Parker and fucking Carnage or something, or Venom.
Mm-hmm.
Carnage came out a little bit before this time, right?
Yeah, it was like about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, so he'd been around for a little bit. Okay, yeah, so you could make a clone of one of them or another symbiote that he found, because there's a bunch of them.
Right.
Whatever, and then like make a really badass like evil Spider-Man clone.
Yeah. So I like that. And I always like the name Spider-Side. That's a good name. It's just like, sounds like it was like what he did. It was kind of lame, you know.
Yeah, then he was only like in one issue.
He had like 1 or 2 issues. Yeah, it's like
he fucking, because with all the clones when they die they turn into like fucking goo.
Yeah, it's like dust goo and shit like that. Yeah, they basically become cocaine.
And I wish that were me.
I'm a living embodiment of cocaine.
I just go back to wherever it came from.
Ashes to ashes, smack to smack. So
it's snorted by the next generation.
So I think we have some good ideas. And killing off on. It seems like the whole thing. Like we did have the thing about killing off Aunt May. That was the.
Well, here the thing is that they wanted a big event, right? Aunt May's been a character for at that point like 50 years.
Yeah. So why not offer off, right?
Yeah, and she's not like vitally important to. She's a big character because she's Aunt May, but is she like vitally important to anything?
Well, that's kind of like obviously we're getting that on another day because that's like one of the other subjects I want to go over, but it seems Marvel is hell bent on like keeping Aunt May around because some reason that's the grounding force in Peter's life, and I never really saw it like that.
Yeah, I thought that's stupid because he was like, I mean, I don't know, I haven't been in comics in quite a while, but he always had like girlfriends and shit and wives.
Yeah, he had girlfriends, he had a wife. I mean, things were. Kind of looking up for Peter. Like I said, I don't want to get too far into it because then I get mad. So leave that for another day.
Save your autism for later.
Essentially, yes. So, all in all, I think we covered some good ground here. I think this is a good first episode to have an idea of what we would have done differently, and I think there was some excellent ideas, especially killing off Aunt May.
That bitch, she's gotta go.
Yeah, gotta get rid of her. So all in all, got some good shit. Whenever everybody hears this, I think they'll find it. Yeah, I think they'll find it interesting. I think because not many people, have looked it up. Not many. I mean, there's some people who do it. They do like YouTube videos and stuff like that, but it's like not kind of few and far between. And they mostly do it for Star Wars shit. So
he's a Van Skyver.
Pretty much. So, but yeah.
I like his videos, but he loves dunking on Star Wars.
So yeah. So it's like I said. Anybody got any final thoughts?
I haven't kept Aunt May around so damn long. Really?
Yeah, she's literally the final thought.
Yeah.
They have had 2 fucking events where was based around bringing her back from the dead.
Yep. Or her dying, one or the other.
Same difference, same. Yeah. And they're both shit.
Right.
Yeah, wasn't that the entire Aunt May dying wasn't even actually Aunt May. It was a fucking clone pretending to be an actor, pretending to be a clone. It was some weird shit going on. It was like, what? No, just have Aunt May die or don't die. Don't fucking. That's like when I did my joke answer with time travel. It just when you introduce shit like that, like, oh, here's a clone. I didn't really die. I'm evil. Or it's like, come on, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Write a story. Like, I get it. You have crazy dudes who fly around in spacesuits and have Iron Man punching people or whatever. But like, try to make a story that's coherent.
Yeah.
And like grounded. That's why I like the some of the Batman stories like that. What was it? The one where Gotham got nailed by earthquakes and plagues and shit.
Yeah, Cataclysm. Yeah.
And it was just him like trying to take over and clean up Gotham, like Escape from New York City style.
Yeah, basically he's trying to take it back block by block.
Yeah, he was basically
No Man's Land.
It was basically a bunch of gangbangers, and he was one of the gangs trying to take back Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was more grounded. It wasn't, Lex Luthor trying to kill the Earth with a death ray or some shit. No, it was just him trying to like fucking clean up Gotham.
Exactly. Like I said, I mean, like I said, you can do fantastic stories, but also have them coherent and not like way out there. It's like, it's a clone of this clone, and then that clone showed up. Yeah,
like if you're dealing with a story with Lex Luthor, his is big like top level stuff, or like Magneto, they're top level like I want to control the planet kind of thing.
Right.
Batman's obviously, or Spider-Man, or whoever, they want to stop that, but then they also have to deal with the mundane shit of this guy is trying to rob a Walmart.
Right.
And the police can't do anything because they're all a bunch of fat cucks or something.
But Batman can't do anything about robbing the Walmart. There's no darkness.
It's true. He has to turn the lights off first.
Well, I mean, he knows where the power breakers are. Come on, dude.
Yeah, he's Batman. I forgot.
He's fucking Batman. He's got Alfred to look for the shit.
Alfred goes shopping in
Alfred goes shopping, but he's like actually doing a scouting mission.
Yeah. Find out where all the breakers are.
Yeah, he knows.
You got anything, Jordan?
Clones are fucking gay.
I agree.
Yeah, that's my point with the whole time travel joke bullshit thing. It's like okay, if you're gonna do a clone, I get it, but like try to focus it down.
Yeah, it's kind of like just to use another sci-fi reference, like in Star Trek, when they did the Riker clone.
Yeah. What did he go? What was it? Yeah, Thomas Riker's something.
Yeah. So you had him, he was like, they started as a clone, and then he eventually like did some, shit because like he was mad because he couldn't be the real Riker and stuff like that and whatnot. And it's like, well, see, that was interesting. They made something of that. This.
Yeah, because he
one guy.
When he was a clone, he came back. Like they made him they put him in the Starfleet because he was a commissioned officer at the time. They gave him this old rank though.
Yeah.
He was like a lieutenant still, and
so he had to work him way back up. Yeah,
and he was also like what 20 years older.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's a fucking nobody. Like, this sucks. I'm gonna join the Maquis.
Yeah, I'm gonna go be a terrorist.
Yeah, then he uses his clone shit to like use Riker's like codes and stuff.
Yeah, it takes over
to steal the Defiant. I think.
Yeah. It's like something interesting like that, but it's like this fucking like something like this will ruin you for clones like Spider-Man shit. It's like
because the Riker thing was just one clone.
Right, it's like one clone,
and it was a thing that happened like 10 years previously.
Yeah, so it makes sense, but this is like no, like just a new clone.
Yeah, no, there's 30 clones, and then
it was like a clone of the week. It really was. It became like a clone of the week shit. It was like dumb. So,
which see here would be an awesome idea. We're a little late for that, but another awesome idea is sort of do like a clone thing where I don't know, Jackal takes over New York with a bunch of clones. Sort of like Batman No Man's Land style, where it just like completely turns into like a city-state.
Yeah.
And then the Spider-Man team has to like try to take back New York.
So, kind of like Jason's idea where he creates spider terrorists and shit like that.
Pretty much, yeah, but it's like more confined to just New York. Like he's trying to like overtake it.
Right.
And then the Spider team has to like kill them all.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's... But
it made way more sense than the fucking thing they did. So
yeah, never. Okay, I think the takeaway we can take: never let your marketing department determine what kind of stories you're going to write.
Yeah, if you're going to be like do toy company shit, like try to focus it.
Yeah, that's the thing, about the toy company stuff. I mean, yeah, there were, of course they had Batman toys and stuff like that. But, there was always like Arctic Batman and fucking, fireproof Batman. But, you rarely saw those suits in the comics or the TV show or shit like that. It was like...
I'd never seen any of that shit. Like, I've read Batman stuff from like the 80s all the way up until the mid-90s.
But they just created that stuff for the toys, They
there was no Batman with blue fucking armor that shot lasers. It's like, what the fuck? No. he has his car and he's got his little airplane.
Yeah.
He's got Alfred. That's all he needs.
Yeah. And as far as toys, you can make all that shit, but it doesn't matter. It's toys. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's a good place to cut it off. Hope everybody enjoyed the episode. We will be back later, probably recording. I don't know when this is going out, but the next episode will be about the Infinite Crisis. That's all.
Here's great. So now I got to reread all that.
No.
I'm going to.
You're probably going to. Yes.
I think the Infinite Crisis happened a little after my time, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it's like a few years, like about 10, 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so it happened like what, late 90s, early 2000s?
Mid to late 2000s. So
2007-ish.
yeah.
Okay, so that's I'll have to catch up on that shit.
Yeah, I'll give you all pertinent links when the time is right.
All right.
But like I said, everybody, hope you have a good time. Check us out on Twitter. The main account for the podcast is at graded 0.5. And you can check me out at Optus Deadpool Cab at Soul Brother Cab, and that's SOLE because he lost.
I'm a fucking foot fetishes. That's what.
He likes.
I love the gamers.
God bless. What is Jordan? What's your Twitter? I forgot.
It's mulatto with cheese.
And that's CHEEZ, right?
Yeah.
And I like regular cheese, but because he's cheese.
I had to do it that way because otherwise it wouldn't fit because of the character limitation.
Oh, you actually had a character limit on you.
Yeah, some gay shit.
Can I do like a quick shout out real quick?
Yeah, fine, good.
If Capo, you ever hearing this, I got a Mike's Heart and a Imagine Dragons reference in tonight. it was for you, buddy.
and we all took our shirts off.
I didn't have one on.
Y'all have a good evening.